Becoming a computer scientist isn't too hard, but there are many parts into becoming a computer scientist. Something that really never ends is something you should develop and be flexible in. Now, I'm King Yeshua. I'm here to show you guys the part one to many other parts. We don't know how many other parts there could be to being a computer scientist, but I would hit every single fundamental there is naturally to this time of 2023 from now and beyond. So there are 5 steps within this video, and I'm here to show you guys these steps just on a explanation basis, not so much of a demonstration. There will be other videos in the future that will come for a demonstration. Now, for the first part in this 5-step video, number 1 is an optimistic mindset to learn. So you should have a mindset to learn and be open to learning from yourself and other people, understanding the things that are holding you back to things that could be really establishing a new you, right? So something that could make you more of a better developer in software to a better developer within hardware. Now, when you're creating hardware and software, you should be open towards taking different ideas from other people, to studying a book, to taking a mentorship, to expanding upon your knowledge, right? Having that optimistic mindset and being able to learn through different dimensions. So learning through school, learning through different types of boot camps, learning towards a mentor, learning from other people that are younger, older, doesn't matter. As long as you can take that optimistic mindset and learn from each and every individual, you'll be perfectly fine. So for the second part, know the basics of hardware and software. So from some of the other parts I was mentioning, have a book, have a mentor, learn from someone or something to now be able to take that and put into your own projects. Now, project-based stuff, you want to make it towards a GitHub or Microsoft Azure, somewhere you can place your projects on and know the basics and constantly go back to those projects and develop and update and optimize each and every project you'll make. So keeping up with every part of a hardware, from knowing the USB, USB-C, USB-A, to knowing what a monitor is, to knowing networking, to troubleshooting, and a little bit of cloud computing, right? So being able to know the hardware and software, Java, JavaScript, Kotlin, Swift, going into different pieces of frameworks, just knowing each and every basic and knowing the programming language to the framework to the hardware is very important in being a computer scientist in general. Number 3, understanding multiple industries. So understanding multiple industries, we can really expand upon the financial, the health, the tech world, the e-com, anything in government. So just being open and open-minded, right? Going back to number 1, an optimistic mindset. Learning about the newest and the latest details on a financial situation, to the health industry, to fitness, understanding each and every industry, especially if you're making projects and putting them on GitHub. Understand that certain industries change, and being open to each and every industry and their new updates and their new pieces of what they're going to establish throughout their time. So understanding the industry, learning from other people from the industry, and maybe taking a course even and going into that industry for a little bit and then coming back to computer science, or even being an asset to that industry for a company or for an individual or for a group of people, and making different pieces of hardware and software for that individual group or company that would need software at that time. So and understanding how each and every industry has their own niches. So if you go into the health industry, you can become a vegan, become a pescatarian. You can really be a lot of things in the health industry to go into the science of it and understanding microbiomes and understanding different kinds of organisms and going into marine biology. Each and every industry has their niche. So be very open to each industry and learning from whoever you're going to be working with and seeing their point of view and seeing where each and every person can have their own expertise, and developing a project within hardware or software for that type of niche. All right, so for number 4 is being able to fill different roles on the fly for a job or for a business. So if you're going to fill a role, be very vast within that role. Don't be so niche down. Don't be so maybe closed-minded to say, because if you know a certain amount of information, and maybe the person you're interviewing with or the potential client you're talking to or communicating with is on another spectrum of a particular type of role. So, for example, if you're going into a general computer scientist, say a software engineer, and you're a software engineer that done the more agile waterfall type of technique, and it kind of leans away from original Scrum. So you too have two different approaches into the same exact role. One does agile waterfall and one does Scrum. Now, you shouldn't be closed-minded if you're doing Scrum and the other person's doing Agile. You shouldn't be closed-minded to doing Agile. You should be open to doing the Agile waterfall and also introducing your type of technique and your way of doing Scrum. So you guys can actually come to an agreement and actually become more of a better team, because a team doesn't work really well when there's disagreements or anxiety or anything that can come in the way of progress. So anything to do with the way you will work within the project and the time span of a project, to understanding each and every piece of what you would do, from the software engineer number 1 to software engineer number 2 and 3 to the technical engineers, the QA type of engineers. Just understanding each and every part can really open up your opportunity to closing a client and to becoming the CIO or the technical architect of that business at the end of the day. So having a vast amount of knowledge is really needed in each and every role, not just your role, but every other role within that job or that business. All right, the number 5, know a minimum of 3 software languages and a few frameworks. So it's not really enough to know just the programming language nowadays from 2023, even last year, 2024, 2025. Just knowing the programming language isn't enough. So you should be open to knowing languages: Java, JavaScript, Python, and even C and C++ and C#. And each and every of those languages have different frameworks that different kinds of tech teams and development teams have made over the years. And some that are really big. Some that are big are .NET for C#, React for Java and JavaScript, Angular for JavaScript, and then Python with Selenium. So even going into the big ones to the small ones, you should be well aware of these frameworks, even if you're not going to use them. So for example, if you're going to do Python and you need to do web scraping, it is easier to use a framework called Selenium. And Selenium helps with automizing and automating your type of Python code. And then to really go into depth on it, I will have separate videos on top of it. But in general, know a good amount of frameworks and know at least 3 software languages if you go into a software engineer role, right? So, and then in part 2 and part 3, I'll probably go more into a hardware type of computer scientist, but there are different kinds of computer scientists you want to be at the end of the day. So, and a quick bonus as well, going back to number 2, the basics and hardware of software. Some of the basics that really help with becoming a computer science in general, any type of computer science, a software engineer to a technical architect. You want to be able to understand operating systems, the discrete math, geometry, and also pre-calc at a minimum, right? It's not really needed for calculus. I know some people might say that you might need calculus, but at the end of the day, it's really pre-calc. Being able to change variables and to move them around within a particular problem, within functions, and even methods you may be making within your mathematical journey. And then geometry, understanding what shapes are, a circle, a square, 3D, and even going to 3D art if you're going to gaming, if you're going to graphic design of any kind, any type of computer sciences, you want to understand geometry and pre-calc, being able to change different kinds of variables and knowing shapes. And then the discrete math is really the language of hardware, the language of computers. So understanding logical operations and understanding different kinds of variables and a vast amount of discrete math information that I can go into later on if you guys want that within the comments of this video. But going into depth on it, it's really a vast subject, so I'll definitely have a separate video on that. But discrete math, the language of computers, and understanding the language of computers can really take you far in becoming a computer scientist. And then operating systems. Operating systems is basically the ability of understanding each and every type of system. So a Windows machine, a Mac machine, Linux and Unix, and then going into some of these are big, but they're not as big as Windows and Mac and Linux. Red Hat, MS-DOS was the original part of Windows. So all these types of operating systems is well needed, and communicating and understanding these operating systems can take you even further away from being a computer scientist. It can make you a type of entrepreneur or even a technical architect to a point, right? So understanding an operating system and making your own frameworks and making your own databases and mainframes and making your own systems that can communicate through cloud computing, right? Operating systems can really take you far in terms of your vast knowledge. And each and every part of your vast knowledge, it is really needed to practice over and over again to a point where you become numb. You become so numb that you just know it automatically and it's off the top of your head, just like how I'm saying it right now. It's a lot of practice, a lot of communication with teams, and understanding what you're doing, and reading the API and reading the documentation over and over again. Read the documentation so you can understand it, and then you put it into your own projects. You put it on GitHub. From there, you put it on GitHub. You can pull from there and then put into another program, another project you may have, and have it as a presentation to a potential client or a presentation to a potential job you may be going for. So just understand each and every part you may be doing, and it will take you far just by reading and comprehending every part of the computer scientist journey and from these 5 steps that I explained. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Not much else I will go into, but there will be other parts to becoming a computer scientist. It's a little jumpy, but I try to go within that 1 to 5 number of steps to do, right? So definitely take care, peace out, and I'll have a separate Discord along with this Discord that I have down in the description. And this Discord is mainly for gaming, so gaming tournaments, shout outs to people coming in and doing tournaments with me, different types of videos we'll be making on YouTube. So, but I'll have a separate Discord for computer scientists or anywhere where you're becoming only hardware or only software, anything in tech. We'll take care of it within our Discord as well, and the coming website that will come in the very future. So thank you for watching. Thank you for coming through, and definitely let me know some constructive criticism as well. Anything you may think about, anything you may know that I didn't mention within this video and probably mention in another video, definitely leave it down in the comments, and I'll definitely get to it as soon as possible. So thank you, take care, and peace out.